Hi, I'm Megan, and welcome to today's live reading of Small Fry by Stephanie Wilson Peterson, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Join me. Chapter 1. Dear Grandpa, middle school started today, and it was awful. Seriously horrible. I know. Everyone hates middle school. You told me that when I finished 5th grade. But not everyone starts middle school in a new town where they know no one. And pretty much nobody starts middle school at 52 pounds and only 48 inches tall. But lucky me, that's what I did today. Do you know what happened? Mom probably already called you and told you, but that was her version. This is my version, the real one. I was there. Mom wasn't. Okay, so Mom dropped me off in front of Franklin Middle School about 15 minutes before the bell. Not so early that I would look like a nerd, but early enough that I could try to find my locker in my first class. Obviously, since we've only been in Raleigh for 2 days, I missed 6th grade orientation, but they mailed us my schedule and locker combination, so no big deal. How hard could it be to find my way around the school? As it turns out, pretty hard. The building is gigantor, for real. It's like a really boring mall. There are endless hallways that wind in and out of one another like a beige maze. The kids are gigantor too. As soon as Mom dropped me off, I accidentally bumped into a kid who had to be close to 6 feet tall, and he had a mustache. A mustache. It was a little wispy one, but still. When some of the kids have close to 2 feet on me, it's hard to see where I'm going. Also, the lockers at Franklin have this crazy numbering system. My locker is 244 3B. That sounds easy enough, right? Wrong. It took me 12 minutes just to find it. When I saw it, I realized that the 3 minute was on the top row. The lock has to be 5 feet up. I can't reach the dang thing. So I just hauled tons of new school supplies to first period with me. At least I tried to go to first period. I was supposed to go to 6th grade English. You know I like English. I like reading and writing. I always get good grades. It seemed like it could be a nice start to my day, but I was wrong. As soon as I found the classroom, only 2 minutes late, the teacher, Mrs. Halliday, took one look at me and asked if I was lost. Things only went downhill from there, like way downhill. Here are the highlights of the day. 1, the teacher thought I was an escaped elementary student. 2, I was escorted out of the class by some popular girl who was convinced I was 8 years old. 3, I was taken to the principal, who would not listen when I told him I was a student there. 4, I was forced to walk to the elementary school next door, where they told me I could wait while they called my mommy. Seriously. 5, by the time they sorted it all out, it was so late that Mom just decided to bring me home. What a freaking waste of a day. 6, when I finally got to leave, the principal apologized and said he should have listened. No one ever listens to me, but that's not entirely true. You do, Grandpa. That's why I'm writing this all to you. I miss you. I love you. Silas. Hi, Silas. I told you middle school was awful. Keep your chin up, small fry. You've got this. I love you. Grandpa Pete. Chapter 2. I was mostly honest with my grandpa about my awful first day of middle school, as honest as I could be. My grandpa was awesome. It's storky to say this, but I don't care. Grandpa Pete is my best friend. But he's still a grown-up. He's still my mom's dad, and if I tell him everything, it might get back to Mom. Adults back each other, even when they're awesome like my grandpa. Here's the thing. I was really, really scared. School has always been awkward for me, even before the move. When school went online because of COVID-19, I was kind of relieved. Mom and Dad let me finish elementary school online, so I hadn't been to any kind of school in a while. I'm not a nerd, more of a geek. I just have a hard time fitting in because people dismiss me easily. Even back in Asheville, where people knew I was just small for my age, people tended to forget I was there. Other kids would sometimes speak to me like I was stupid or little. I've thought about why that is a lot. I really believe that people don't mean to be mean to me or forget me. It's just that people have a hard time seeing someone who looks like me and reconciling the fact that in their brains that I'm not 7 or 8 years old. So they speak to me that way. And I don't respond well to being treated that way. So eventually they start acting like I'm not there at all. In some ways, I get it. I do. I'm short and thin with pale skin, big brown eyes, and thick, shaggy brown hair falling down to my ears. I look about 8 years old, but it's kind of miserable to constantly be the invisible boy in the room. Because of my lifetime of social mishaps, I was on edge before I ever stepped foot into Franklin Middle School. Years of pent-up anger and anxiety pulsed through me as I struggled down the hallway, taller kids knocking into me without noticing. Before I opened the door to Mrs. Halliday's room, my pulse was already racing. Sweat had beaded on my forehead before anyone treated me like a preschooler. Every muscle in my body tensed long before the principal waggled his finger in my face as if I were a naughty puppy. My stomach was roiling before they locked me up in the elementary principal's office while they called my mommy. I was a mess before the day even started. As soon as I opened the door to the English classroom, I knew it was going to be a rough day. The teacher, Mrs. Halliday, saw me, put her hands on her hips, narrowed her eyes, and said, "Are you lost, little guy?" "I don't think so," I said, checking her shoes, which were covered in a pencil print. "Is this English class?" "Yes, but I don't think you're supposed to be here. The elementary school's on the other side of the courtyard. Let me call someone to walk you back over there where you belong." "But," I stammered. "It's okay, cutie," she said. "Look at the twerp," said a tall boy in the back of the classroom. "Shush, Chad," a blonde girl said. I ignored them, willing myself not to turn red. I turned to the teacher again. "But I'm supposed to be in this class," I protested. "I'm just kind of small." "Right, you're young, and in 3 years or so you can be in my class," she said, a painfully big smile on her tanned face. "No, I'm not young. Yes, yes, you're a big boy. Now hush while I call the office." She held up her hand to stop me from speaking. I felt the heat rise into my cheeks, and I tried to hold on to my schedule. I tried to hold up my schedule for her to see, but she wouldn't look. I turned away so I wouldn't cry in front of the class. Kids snickered. The blonde girl walked over to me while the teacher spoke on the phone and knelt down to talk to me. She was the kind of girl I could tell was popular just by looking at her. She had that look, like my big sister Emma. Sometimes all it takes is one glance to tell that a kid has never had any trouble making friends. "Hey, little guy, I'm sure it's scary being at the wrong school. I bet you're supposed to be over at Franklin Elementary with my little brother. He's about your age. What are you, a second grader?" I wanted to scream. "I'm a sixth grader," I mumbled. "That's so cute." Cute, like a puppy. I'm not a puppy. Mrs. Halliday set the phone down and looked at the girl. "Madison, could you please walk our little friend down to the office? They're expecting him." "If you'll just look at your list, you'll see," I started. "Go on now. We have a class to start," the teacher spoke over me. I figured maybe they'd be able to sort it out in the office, so I went with Madison. She tried to hold my hand and led me down there like I was a toddler or something. It was beyond embarrassing. I yanked my hand away. "I really am a sixth grader," I tried to tell her as we walked. "Uh-huh, sure, buddy. What's your name?" "My name is Silas, and I'm 11, almost 12 even. My birthday is in October." I could tell she didn't believe me, but it didn't matter because by then we made it to the office. A thin, white-haired man in a blue suit waited for us in the doorway. "Thank you for bringing our little friend down here," he said to Madison. Would people stop calling me that? "Bye, Silas," Madison said with a little wave. "My name is Silas Fitzgerald, and I'm not lost. I'm supposed to start sixth grade today," I told the man. "Well, Silas Fitzgerald, I'm Principal Owens. You're quite the eager beaver, aren't you? We'll be happy to have you in a few years, but I'm pretty sure you need to be next door," he said in an annoying, sugary sweet voice. "No, I'm not," I said through clenched teeth. "Now, don't throw a tantrum," he said, waggling his finger at me. "Would you please check your records or something?" I begged. "Why don't we let the people over at Franklin Elementary do that?" he said. "Because they won't have a record for me. You will." I thrust my schedule at him, hopelessly trying to prove my identity. As he read my wrinkled schedule, I took a deep breath and tried to explain myself. "I really am a sixth grader. I'm new to town and I have a growth hormone deficiency, but I assure you I am much older than I look." The principal raised his eyebrows at me. "You use a lot of big words for a little guy. Did you take your big brother's schedule so you could try out middle school for a day?" "No," I yelled, my hands turning into fists at my side. "That's no way to speak to your elders, young man." It went on like that forever. They actually walked me over to the elementary school and made me wait in their principal's office while they tried to figure out who I was. Finally, they asked me if I knew my mommy's phone number so they could call her. Mommy's phone number. They actually said that. I gave them mom's number. They left me alone in the office while they waited for her to drive down to the school. Sure, I looked about 7 or 8. I knew it, but I didn't like it. When mom arrived, she was mad. I heard her before I saw her. It's all in his file. I called and explained about his growth hormone deficiency. I heard her almost shout at the principal. I just waited there, feeling like an absolute loser. I had been in that office for 2 hours. 2 hours on my first day of middle school, spent in an elementary school. By the time we got it all sorted out, mom decided it would be best to take me home and try again the next day. I missed my entire first day of middle school, all because no one would listen to me. But that's not even the worst part. While I sat and waited at the elementary school, they sent the school nurse to check on me. She seemed nice enough, but when she opened the door and asked, "How are you holding up, sweetheart?" I snapped. "I'd be a whole lot better if you'd leave me alone," I yelled. I turned away from her, burying my head in my hands like the little kid they thought I was. And after she left, I cried.